sports fans. Welcome in, welcome in. How was your week there? Who cares? Do anything exciting?
Well, it's only Tuesday, so
only
not too much
Tuesday,
going on yet.
So no troubles yet.
No troubles yet.
Who cares and I randomly, we were just out and about doing our own thing and ran into this guy this weekend at our favorite watering hole, One Night Stands.
I ran into you.
It's true. I was standing there. I turned around like, what the fuck? You want? Oh, who cares? No, I'm just kidding. I saw him coming around the corner and I just yelled out, hey, who cares? And he turned and looked at his head because obviously I would normally just yell out his real name, but his nom de plume is who cares, of course, right? But
you were just being funny.
I was being funny. And you laughed, right? It worked.
Yeah.
What was happening?
Yep.
We did miss you guys last week. Just our schedules conflicted and we were not able to stream last Thursday, so it's been a week. So let's just try and get into as many stories as we can, shall we? All right.
Let's see. Well, it depends on what the stories are.
Depends what the stories are. What do we got here? All right. This should be an interesting one. Donut painting. Oops. That's not the right one. There we go. Donut painting sparks free speech debate for bakery in the town. Obviously, someone has painted something that is inappropriate.
Donut painting. What is donut painting? Are you painting a donut or?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with that they put something on a donut that sparks free speech. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so
obviously, what it's going to be about is the free speech debate.
Yeah. It's less about the donut and whatever sprinkles don't go on donuts will have offended someone, and then they're speaking out saying, "You got to take it down because it offends my sensibilities." Something like that.
Something like that. Yep.
Bakery owner was thrilled when high school art students covered the big blank wall over his doorway last spring with a painting of the sun shining over a mountain range made of covered chocolate and strawberry donuts, blah, blah, blah. The display got rave reviews. Look forward to collaborating with the school on more in New Hampshire. So it's American. Then the town's zoning board got involved, deciding that the pastry painting was not so much art as advertising, and so could not remain as it is because of its size. Faced with modifying or removing the mural or possibly dealing with fines and criminal charges, the owner sued, saying the town is violating his freedom of speech rights. The painting could stay right where it is if it showed actual mountains instead of pastries, suggesting mountains, as if the building wasn't a bakery. They said it would be art elsewhere. It's just not art here. The town should not have the right to police art. Controversy has residents of this town of 10,000 grappling with big questions about creativity and liberty as it tries to preserve its rural character. Well, that's enough that I need to hear at this point. So, the bakery across the street got upset because this guy's bakery has very colorful art and was approached by the students to put this on here, but the bakery across the street doesn't have the same artwork, and thus is claiming that guy has unfair advertising space. Right? We're making leaps here. Why would you be upset that a town of 10,000 of all things, like that's smaller than High River, right? I don't know how many houses. 200 houses. How many are in here? Let's assume this picture, right with the mountains there. You can see how many people are in this town. Why is this a problem here? Who cares?
You got me.
Okay. Like, I think if it's all right. So Calgary, where Who Cares and I live, we are just on the cusp of ramping up for our municipal election, right? Our councillors and our mayor is going to be. Provincial. It's a provincial election.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just ramping up. We're on the cusp of a provincial election. So on the streets, you're going to have all these signs for all the people in your riding, for the party, right? We vote for party here in Canada. We don't vote for the person, but they'll have their names plastered everywhere. These signs will be like every 10 feet for the 10 kilometers it takes for me to go from here to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the pub, to the grocery store. Every 10 feet, there'll be a different name on there. Now, there's size restrictions on that. If that's one of the things here, like if this guy had put out a big ass billboard, like is that the problem? Because this guy didn't take out a billboard to plaster up this artwork, which means the city is not getting its tax on it. That's why they're upset. Why? Right? The counselors of this town should go into the school and say, hey, you guys did a great work, but we're not going to support you. Because that's what's happening here, right? In the big city, it's about getting taxed, right? Everyone wants their cut. Everyone wants their piece. Why is this town of 10,000 up in arms because a bunch of high school kids, with their permission, right, with this baker's permission, painted this thing? I mean, I get it. I don't get it. I'm completely at a loss about this story. Who cares? Last comments?
Yeah. We're both lost with this one. We're both kind of like, it doesn't make sense.
Wow.
What are they thinking?
Like, I'm for Americans and Canadians, for that matter, and for people speaking up and free speech and whatnot, right? You should be able to say a lot of things that you want to say without too much reprisal. As long as you're not promoting active hate, right? I know some of the previous conversations is suggesting that the Holocaust isn't real, like things of that type thing. Go out and beat up all the people of not Caucasian color or worse, right? Those things, active violence, of course you can't stand up for that. But just because you have a difference of opinion about liberals and conservatives, small l, small c, so what? Move on to the next story already. Like, okay. Let's just leave that one because I'm getting riled up about a donut painting. Okay. Slovakia joins Hungary and Poland in Ukrainian grain veto. We might come back to that one because it's that's got larger ramifications than those three countries. This is you. Hockey. Yay! Doughty.
Yeah, no, I was just reading. Doughty ignites Kings Oilers series with comments on McDavid. All right, so we've got some LA player who's trying to get under the skin of McDavid and trying to spur on his own team, trying to give him motivation here. I don't know.
So
I don't even know what the comment was.
So this is actually for our American friends, our American viewers, not our Canadian viewers, because every Canadian knows that the Stanley Cup playoffs started yesterday. Our American friends watch a lot of football, watch a lot of basketball. They may not watch a lot of hockey. So Drew Doughty here is a defenseman from the LA Kings. They played the game one of the series last night. The Oilers actually took a lead and then was deemed, I think it was actually in overtime, probably in the first 15 seconds of overtime. Is that right? No, it was last minutes of overtime. Of the third period for a 4-3 go-ahead goal. It was then called back because of a high stick, and it was pretty clear. So I'm not sure what the announcers of the LA game were looking at. Clearly, they are not Canadians because that was a pretty clear-cut high stick. and they were going to
Okay,
disallow
so
that.
LA gets the go-ahead goal, but it's called back.
No, Oilers do. The Oilers get the go-ahead goal.
Oilers do.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it gets
okay.
called back. And Drew Doherty here kind of gives a no, that there's no goal. That's a high stick for sure. Big smile, continues on. And then they win last night. They win overtime. So yay for LA.
They being who?
LA Kings take
win
over.
in overtime. Okay.
Okay. This comment here is based at he's taking a shot saying that the LA Kings were all gunning for McDavid. Right? McDavid is the number one scorer in the NHL right now. Assuming that every team has their number one peoples. There's 32 teams. Only Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are the two Edmonton Oilers are on that list. Every other team has one person, right? Which means somewhere on the list of 32, some team got left off. So it's expected that the Edmonton Oilers do well. They should make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So the LA Kings, who are last-ish, no, they finished quite well. They're taking a shot at McDavid, and they're going to gun for McDavid. Now, he's trying to do that and spur the other team to draw penalties and all the rest of it because Drew Doherty is a bit controversial, but that's what this is going to be. Mm-hmm. You want to weigh in before I start reading the article?
No, I think that's pretty much what's going on. But I think McDavid, you expect that in playoffs. Every team, their top scorer is they're double checked. They're hammered into the boards. This is why Gaudreau never did particularly well. I think he did do well, but
talking about Johnny Gaudreau here for the Calgary Flames.
Johnny Gaudreau, when he was with the Calgary Flames, is because he didn't like that kind of attention, we'll say. He would avoid going into corners and so forth because he didn't want to get plastered into the boards. And physically, he's a small guy, and I get it, I understand, but that's what happens in the NHL, So, I'm pretty sure McDavid is quite aware that he's going to be getting hit a lot. I hope what the other teams, they're not cheap shots. You're not going to slash them because you want to slow him down,
or intent to hurt, intent to injure,
or any kind of intent to hurt, for sure. But clean hits, there's nothing wrong with that, and I think he should expect that. So
absolutely, I think that's just part of the game to begin with. But now, like once you make the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's kind of like a reset. It doesn't matter that you played 82 games and you're in 8th place or in your first place. It's a reset at this point, right? And so you come out with renewed vigor, and I think who cares? You're absolutely right. They're going to be playing hard, right? It's going to be a hard hit, so.
And there's a lot of psychology that goes into this. My daddy can beat up your daddy, kind of, just to goad and intimidate the other players, and it's a two-way street. McDavid will give it back every bit as much as he gets it. So,
well, he just won't make the comment. But what Drew Doughty is doing here is not anything new. We've seen this every year for time immemorial, right? So, watching the series between Edmonton, this marks the second year these two will be meeting up in the first round of the playoffs, with last year's battle going to the Oilers in a series that went all 7 games, right? So.
A little sidestep here. I was playing poker last night up at the casino, right? And so, of course, they've got the NBA games on, and they've got the NHL games on, right? And I'm watching Edmonton playing Los Angeles last night, and the game comes to an end a little quicker than I was like, "Wow, that was fast. It's over," right? And they're all in line shaking each other's hands. And I'm like, they don't do that after the first game. They do that after the end of the series.
I'm like, laughing because I already know what's happening here before he's finishing the story.
Yeah. So it seemed that the people at the TV station thought it would be entertaining to play last year's playoff game.
That is what they do. Have you never watched Sportsnet? Sportsnet's the sports channel that we have here.
I watch stuff when I'm in the poker room.
Yeah. No, they do this every year.
Sure, play a game from the Stanley Cup playoffs between those teams. Don't go and play someone who's betting on the LA Oilers game and is watching what I was watching is like, yay, my team is winning, and then finds out, oh no, that was just a game from last year, is like cruel, So
Game
anyway,
7 of
side
last
note,
year. So that's what
well, obviously
they did.
being,
They played Game
yeah,
7 of last year between these two teams,
yeah,
right before puck drop for this year's series drop. Yeah, I did that as well last night, by the way, just so you know.
okay.
I turned the TV on at 7:30.
What are you clicking on that's making a pinging, like a blinking noise?
I'm not clicking on
Okay,
anything.
something's happening. Okay, all right. I'm getting something I keep getting every few minutes. So, all right, no big.
I'm going to. Well, I had the poker software open, but I'm not playing a game. I had.
Yeah, I don't know.
To turn that off as well. I don't hear that
Okay.
pinging, but
I'm getting something. It could be on my end, but I don't know what. All right. Anyways, back to.
okay. They're just talking in this about the shots between these two guys and the various games that they played this past season. Again, they're just trying to build up hype is all it is, right? Never shy to do this, that, the other thing. What's this? Never shy. Drew Doughty made sure to let the media know ahead of Monday night's game that he and his teammates weren't happy with McDavid hit at the time it happened. This is a shot that happened a couple months back. I guess in last year's one particular incident that irked the Oilers during the seasons from last year involved the Kings as he took Leon Draisaitl down to the ice during scrum, which resulted in a high ankle sprain for Leon Draisaitl. So less than a month ago, McDavid takes an opportunity to run at Anderson, so McDavid gets boarding. So to your point about Johnny Gaudreau, yeah, Johnny Gaudreau doesn't do that, but Connor McDavid isn't shy to not do that. Hello, iFrog. Welcome in. We're doing our weekly, bi-weekly podcast. We do this twice a week. We're just going to talk about random stories, and we're going to play a little bit of poker here in a bit. And Drew Doughty's just saying he's going to get back. It doesn't feel like they're just going to take a shot at him. Media jabs makes for intense series, which is exactly what I just said there, right? This is a no-brainer. All right, I'm good with that. Anything else?
Nope.
Sorry, series has started. Let's go. Nice. I thought it was WoW only. Yeah. No, I streamed 3 different things. This is my co-host. Nope, that way. That's my co-host right there.
Hello, iFrog.
Who cares? Right there. We do this twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We just talk about random stories. We never know what's happening based on. Yeah, I did the same thing. Who cares?
Yeah, I didn't know which way. Yeah.
James Webb Space Telescope just made another huge discovery. Do you want to come back to that one because you're the space guy, right?
Thanks. I'm a space guy. Okay.
Well, your educational background is fitting for that.
Yeah, I understand. It's just the way you.
Nope.
Yep. There we go. Yep.
Okay. What's this one? The fact that so this is the Daily Dot. I'm not sure about their media source. I would not tune into these guys to get my media and share this with the public. But so take whatever the stories are for. Take it for what it is. Quote: the fact that I have to make 2 strangers get up so I can pee gives me raging anxiety. End quote. Airline passenger says window seat is stressful, sparking debate. Well. Don't drink so much beer before you get in the plane. Don't drink so much beer while you're on the plane. Make sure you go to the bathroom before. It's like going to bed, right? You go to the bathroom before you go into bed. You empty out your bladder, and then you don't have to get up as often in the middle of the night or at all. This is the same thing. Well, here she is drinking a Starbucks coffee. Is it stressful? I mean, take a Xanax or something. I don't know. I mean, we've all been in planes, right? We've all been a passenger on the inside and the outside. The trade-off is, I mean, I don't mind sitting on the aisle seat because I typically just sleep from start to finish. Just
Right,
get in
right.
there, close my eyes, and just let her rip. I mean, I don't, right? For me, it's getting my elbow banged by that food cart, right?
Sure. Yeah, not
That,
a lot of room.
yeah, not a lot of room there. So, but if people have to get by, I mean, that's fine, right? Just either stand up and get out of the way, or do the best you can to move your legs to let people go by. This person is having
Well,
anxiety. You knew you were getting into that when you buy your
book
ticket.
the window seat. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah. I mean, there's one thing to have to ask a couple of people to get up so you can go to the washroom, once during a flight because you had a little bit too
Oh
much
yeah.
to drink while you're in the lobby or something, right? Now, it might become a bigger problem if you have a weak bladder. And
But the problem isn't for them. The problem is for the people that are moving to accommodate her. Right. Those are the
right,
people
but
that are
she's
got upset.
saying this is the one that's saying it's a raging anxiety for this
Mm.
person because, and I'm just speculating that she's got a weak bladder, and every 10 minutes she's like, "Oh, I got to go to the washroom again," and she's got to ask these people to leave, and she's embarrassed and so forth and all. Right? There's a difference between those. Do it once, okay, no big deal.
Hmm.
If I'm sitting in the aisle seat and every 10 minutes you're asking me, I'm like, here, you sit here, I'm sitting there, then you just go to the washroom, so I can understand. And we don't know the exact situation here. But yeah, if you have a weak bladder like that and you get up every 10 minutes to go to the washroom, then book the aisle seat, right?
Hmm.
And then you don't have a problem. It's a trade off here. Which do you want? Oh, but I want a window seat. I want to look out the window and look at the other planes going by. And,
Then you got to do other things
okay,
to
well,
manage your anxiety. Yep. Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, like you can't have it both ways here. So, that's
Yeah.
my
Uh,
immediate thoughts on this person.
they just have to figure out how to deal with their anxiety in a healthy manner, I guess it is, right?
Hmm.
And I think Who Cares and I said the exact same thing. If you have, as you said, a weak bladder, then you got to trade off having a view looking out the window for having the aisle seat, so you're not knocking people all the time, right?
Right.
So, I mean, this is a easy one. That's a fluff piece for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? No.
No.
Okay. Not only Ukraine, these are the other ongoing and escalating wars worldwide. It's interesting. A Nintendo hacker will be punished for the rest of his life. Oh my. Okay, this is me here. So National Post. This is a conservative think tank media that's coming out of Ottawa, I think, Toronto probably, but it's Quebec based. Or sorry, it's Ontario based. And it's an opinion piece by Chris Selly. I'm not sure who Chris Selly is and why he thinks what he thinks, but this is what he's going to have here. In Quebec, I don't know what that is. The seat, endless contradictions may be coming home to roost. All right, well, I mean, the Quebecers are all over the place on a bunch of different things, right? So it's it's tough to say no and put no to kiboshes to pipelines through your province, and then book and then buy Saudi oil and have it shipped from Saudi Arabia here, right? Because ultimately, because of transfer payments. I mean, it doesn't matter how you get it. We give money. Alberta gives money to Quebec, and that money is being paid for Saudi oil rather than here. Let's add another piece to our previous story here. iFrog. This is what we're looking for. This we want more of this. By the way, keep doing this. iFrog says, I drink beer in long trade, right? Yes. And I always sit window 3 rows with a table because I play on my laptop and I have a weak bladder and social anxiety. So I buy people on the 6 seats snacks and drinks so they won't be too mad at me. Yeah. Right?
It's one way around it, sure.
So as I think we finish off at the end there, that story is more about how does that viewer deal with their anxiety, right? For you, this is what I think this is right. This is how you deal with the anxiety, guys. And I like this. I don't think there's any problem with this either, right? It helps make the train ride go a little bit quicker. And like good movies, good stories, it's about building the character, right? No good story starts with, well, this one time I was eating a salad. Right? It's always about, let's get some beers. You buy beers for the 6 people at the table so you can sit and chat a little bit more, and you open up those lines of communication. And of course, they're drinking beers, and they're going to reciprocate and back and forth. And it just makes the time pass a little bit quicker. So again, I would do this anyway, right? I mean, for me, I don't have anxiety for sitting on the inside. And I always ask Mrs. Frostmage if she wants a window, or if she doesn't. She knows that I prefer to sit on the outside, but if she wants to sit on the outside this time, I'll sit in the end. I'll even sit in the middle if I need to, right? But just how you deal with the anxiety. So yeah, I'm with you. I can get behind that iFrog.
Yeah, I like it's a good solution and all, and it's a good way to approach, like you say, the way to deal with it. So good on him. Good on you, iFrog.
So because we're not, Who Cares and we are not, we're not young peoples anymore. We are in the middle throngs of life. So while I just heard him say him about iFrog, snowflakes nowadays would just don't assume my pronouns. Right? True.
Yes.
So we don't give a shit about that. That's the reality of it. We just don't care about that. If you want to be known as a he or she or whatever else, I mean, our intent is not to offend, of course. We don't. If you tell us it's this, we're not going to do it just to be assholes about it, right? Tall, short, gay, straight, black, white. Just don't be the asshole in the group. But to get mad at someone because they don't know what your pronouns are to begin with, that's where the error, part of the error is, I think. All right, back to our story. Quebec. So lots of contradictions coming up here. We're not really sure what it is yet, but we'll see what it is. Oh, there we go. State secretarialism. That's what laicite means. Laicite. State secularism has always been full of contradictions, hypocrisies, and flimsy explanations. So this will be a political piece, obviously, but thankfully, if belated, in recent days, have been coming to head over 2 main issues: the role of the Catholic Church as part of Quebec's history and heritage, and the provision of rooms in public schools for students, read Muslim students, to pray. Right? So these things typically are much greater and broad-based, and politicians are good at giving really good short answers to really complicated problems. So my sister is a couple years ago was a fan of France, and thought that because France passed a law that restaurants cannot throw the food in the garbage, they have to donate the food to food banks or things like that, because just because it's at the end of its life, it says Best Buy, you can't throw that food out. You have to donate it because there's still some life left, and those food banks can still get use out of it, right? She thought that was good. On the flip side, on the same day that they passed that, they also passed a law that in France, they banned the burkini. So Muslim women, or devout Muslim women, wear garments from top of their head to their feet, with only usually their face showing, their hands, and sometimes their feet, right? Those 3 areas. So the rest of their body is covered. France passed a law that you cannot wear that. A couple of years ago, this was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, like 2 months ago, they just passed another law that in France, if you go to the beach, you have to wear a bikini. Like a female has to wear a bikini. You don't have an option. You are required as a male, you have to wear a Speedo. You cannot wear the American board shorts, right? We wear it like on our waist, and a swimsuit just above the knee. You can't wear that when you go to France. So this is part of the problem that Quebec is also going to start dealing with here. Yes, most students in Quebec are of Catholic persuasion. Now, they didn't make that choice. Their parents made that choice for them. but because Canada is taking in 200,000 or so immigrants in a year, they're not all going to be Catholic, and a great many of them land in Quebec, right? Quebec, Ottawa, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver. So now by not providing a room for Muslim students to have their daily prayers, kind of stepping over the line a little bit. And that's what's going on here. The putting in place of prayer areas, regardless of confession, in public school rooms goes against the principle of secularism. You okay there?
I think the battery on my headphones died, which is probably what was all that beeping noise that I could hear.
Yeah, it could very well be it. Yeah.
Yep.
You probably didn't charge it since last week, did you?
I thought the battery was good, but apparently not.
Seeing how we just finished up Easter, that'll be a huge issue as well, right? Because Easter is more important than Christmas to Christians. A few hours later, yeah. Attachment to the religious and historic heritage represented by the crucifix. This is talking about removing the crucifix over the speaker's chair in the legislature. So you don't have separation of church and state, which is what huge for our American friends. Crucifix. Yeah, it's the same. It's just contradictions back and forth. That's more of the same.
I think that's really what the article is about. It's not about the specific contradictions, but it's just that
over and over and over again. Yeah,
they've got all these contradictions that on one hand they want to do this, but they're saying this, or this is the policy, but they go and do something different, and now they're saying that it's coming home to roost. So they're getting caught up in their, I don't know if I want to call it lies or deceit, but I mean they're not really, like I say, they're saying one thing, but they're doing another, and people are saying, hey, well, I thought this is what the game plan was, but you're doing this instead, so. I
think this line or paragraph, this is halfway through or third way through, whatever. This guy, whoever this guy is, made a critical observation as well. And I think this kind of hits at the heart of what this article is and what we're talking about. It says young Quebecers. Now let's take out Quebecers and put in young peoples. And this is all around the planet, right? This is not just a Quebec thing, but young Quebecers, few of them religious, but none having lived under the Pope's thumb, are far more likely to see all these contradictions as simply irreconcilable, just as many of the rest of Canada do now. Right? You're just challenging the beliefs of your parents as you grow up. Right? With parents born in the 50s, their viewpoints are far different than, because those are the hippies, right? The hippies of the 70s, your parents. Their views are far different than Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, Gen Z, right? You see the changing of the times. I think this is the same one, right? Young peoples are more apt to challenge the status quo. I think that's what's happening here. I mean, this guy whose picture up there, that's the premier of Quebec, by the way. Legault. The guy's 70 years old, right? Kids that are 17, 18, 19 don't see the world the same way that this guy does. This guy probably has to, well, I'm not going to say, but he has someone helping him with technology. How do you turn this on? How do you stop the blinking of 12 on my VCR? And they're like, VCR, what's that? Right?
Yeah, really.
Right. So young people just do these things with technology all the time when older peoples don't. This is viewing the world differently. It's no different, I don't think. All right. Anything else there? Who cares? Oh, you stepped away.
No, I think
Okay. I think we can.
Not really much to say there as well. But.
Yeah. What's this one? Alberta, that's an ad. Road to US Open begins. Some live golf players take a pass. How about this? What do you know about this one? iFrog says, you can have the stream set to talk shows and podcasts instead of just chatting, right? No, I did not know that. That
What
is
did you
very.
say?
You can set the stream to talk shows and podcasts. Well, see, this is why we do these sort of things, so we can have.
Oh, I wasn't aware that there
we
was
didn't know you could do that.
well, I didn't know there was a separate heading for this. Yeah.
All right, we will. Thank you, iFrog. We will look that up and we will make those changes accordingly for our next one. No, because I did not know that. Okay, so Russia sends elite troops Bakhmut after heavy Wagner losses. So Wagner is actually a way more easy to get people in as just chatting is way too big on Twitch. Is way too big on Twitch. It's easier to get people under the podcast than to just chatting. Yeah, that's fair. You're just saying just change the category, right? So one of the first times we did this podcast, I forgot to switch it over from WoW and left it under WoW. So all the people that are on my community from WoW come over and like, this is not the video game. Thanks, we're going to come back later. Yeah. So I tried to make sure I hit just the chatting one. You're right. I will, as I said, we will absolutely switch that over for sure. Okay, so the Daily Digest, again, not a great news source here, not one I would go to and hammer on, but Putin hired, Wagner is a mercenaries for hire group, more or less. And they're advocating and stating that they took over this Bakhmut place in Ukraine. And they're sending the elite troops there after more losses. So anyway, that's what's happening with that. No troops means no advancement. And these are just, it's a rotating, this one has 21 pictures, whatever, and like one or two lines about what they're talking about. Can we verify the comments? Ground forces later came out and explained that Russia had indeed sent some of its most elite troops in a change of tactics. Yeah, fine. And we switched to so-called scorched earth tactics from Syria. This is not anything new, right? I think Germany did the same thing in World War II, just as they retreat, burn, and destroy everything. Because if everything's destroyed, then the enemy can't use it. I don't think this is anything new for Ukraine tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there it goes on. The enemy switched to the scorched earth. Is destroying buildings and positions with airstrikes and artillery fire. Yeah, no big deal. It's just part of it. According to these guys, setting information gathered set to help seize a town that eluded Putin and his commanders for months. I haven't looked at this place. I don't know. Like, I didn't Google where that is, but I suspect it's a strategic port, strategic city for whatever reason.
Right.
Right. Reasonable. Unspecified airborne divisions were likely only supporting Wagner's troops and not advancing themselves. Right. So you get the mercenaries to take the main drive, and your troops just keep the enemy from attacking on the side, the flanking position. Anything to comment here? I mean, it's
nope. Some heavy battle going on in this city, and it is a strategic point. If it's the one I'm thinking of, anyways, and it's kind of like a road to everything. This city is a road to everything, and I believe it's in the east, Dunk something region.
Donetsk.
Yeah, Donetsk. I can't remember. And it's a road to the port. It's just a road to everything, and so controlling this city, I believe, is is very strategic. Ukraine is doing its best to hang on to it, and Russia's doing everything it can to capture it. So keep hearing about the Wagner losses. As you said, it's a military for hire. It's a Russian.
Yeah, they're mercenaries.
Yeah,
it's a mercenary group.
Right, but he's been pulling people from like prison camps, like not prison camps, but prisons. It's like, hey, you come and fight, and if you survive, you'll be
your
set free afterwards. Right?
Commuted. Yeah.
But I don't think they're exactly well trained or well motivated.
Well, no, I don't know if that's true. They may not be well trained, but they're highly motivated.
Are you really? I mean,
freedom over death is a huge motivator, right? You don't have the choice. You're not going back to jail. Get out on the front line. If you survive, you'll be let go. But if you stay in jail, we're just going to shoot you here.
Well, I don't know about shoot you in jail,
whatever
but
the case may be, right? But
yeah, but I mean, you're going to be sent to the front lines. They're trying to do everything they can not to get killed on the front lines.
Of course,
they're not interested in actually capturing enemy territory or anything, So,
well, yeah, but again, that's the difference is highly motivated. No, I think they're absolutely highly motivated.
Right. Okay. But they've been suffering lots of losses. They've been complaining about not having enough munitions to carry out the battles, and I think essentially they've been using these troops as the slaughter pieces, and now they're going to send in the elite troops to try and clean up after the fact, and so. But
just a heads up there, iFrog. While we were just chatting there, I did manage to change over from just chatting to that talk shows and podcasts. So thank you very much for that. As I said, neither one of us knew that, but we're always looking to grow and learn and develop. So thank you. Okay, let's continue on because we've got about 10 minutes left here. A 70-year-old mystery over bizarre, truly monster may have finally been solved. I don't know. It's a game. What's this one? Okay, this is more war stuff. News 360. I do believe this is a UK article. But I could be wrong with that. But I think that's where I recall reading 360 before. Germany and UK intercept 3 Russian fighter jets near NATO airspace. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. See, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. We can learn. We can do these things.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this a couple weeks back here. Who cares, right? Part of the reason why Russia is so upset with Finland, Finland and Sweden being on the cusp of being accepted into NATO is because now NATO is buttressed right up to the border of Russia. Right.
Right.
This is why they're upset. So this is going to be problematic, and this is how this war will escalate. Is this because Germany and UK are members of NATO, and the fact that Russian fighters are right, you're responsible for the airspace, right, straight up from the ground and down. This is ours on this side, and this is yours on that side. So as long as you're flying on this side, you're okay. But as soon as you fly this side, you're not. And now you're going to have parallel fighter jets just circling around each other, not crossing the airspace of the other side, because that it would constitute an invasion, right? And they retaliate. Now, people aren't usually just like, oh my God, they crossed 1 centimeter over, let's fight. But Putin's a little bit crazy, so he may do that. So if you have these two NATO countries through their own air forces intercepting Russian jets, you can raise tensions this way. Right? Americans and Chinese get into some of the same sort of pissing contests over Taiwan and other countries. So this is not good, I don't think. Thoughts?
Well, this has been an ongoing thing forever as far as airplanes have been concerned. China's doing it with Taiwan. Russia's been doing it all the time. Numerous encounters with U.S. aircraft and U.S. Navy, the naval ships and all. It's much like we talked about with the hockey and Connor McDavid and all. It's all antagonizing and so it's the same idea. And you were just going to keep sending up our aircraft, the NATO aircraft, in whatever area it is, and basically confront them and say, we're here, we're watching, we're paying attention. You stay on your side of the line, we'll stay on our side of the line, and everything will be honky dory. But it seems Russia just wants to keep testing that line.
Of course. This is a really short article, so this is a good one here. The UK and German fighters intercept 2 Russian fighter jets and a Russian spy aircraft on Monday. So this was yesterday, over waters in the Gulf of Finland. Ironically, I said Finland, right? In the Baltic Sea and close to the Atlantic Alliance airspace. According to the RAF, the British Air Force, one of the Russian crafts was identified as a spy plane coming from mainland Russia and heading for the exclave of Kaliningrad, bordering Poland and Lithuania. I do believe that both of those are NATO friendly countries. British and German fighter jets escorted the Russian aircraft in the opposite direction to the NATO air border until the Swedish Air Force took over. Right, so I don't think Sweden has been accepted yet into NATO. Right?
No, but
I think Finland and Finland and Sweden were on the same docket to be accepted, and Turkey was holding out. And then for whatever reason, Turkey said, yes, we'll agree to Finland, but not to Sweden. So that's a different conversation.
I think they felt that Sweden wasn't doing its fair share of, so maybe here Sweden is saying, okay, see, we're stepping up here. We're sending up our aircraft and, then again, they may just be like, we got to protect our own country anyways, so send up our aircraft. But
this is like a handoff, it says, right? Escorted in the opposite direction until the Swedish Air Force took over. So clearly British and Germany called up Sweden and said, hey, we got 2 Russian fighter jets here. We're going to lead them up to your area and then you can take over. Yeah? Okay, sounds good. If not, then can we enter your airspace to follow them if you're not going to step up? And if you do, then it's on yours and we'll just turn around and go home.
Yeah, and of course they would take over. It's not going to be an issue there. It's not going to...
Sweden is only having cinnamon rolls in our IKEA furniture, listening to ABBA. Trust me, he's Swedish. Right? Oh, I frog, you're cracking me up, buddy. Cracking me up.
Oh, that's what you're reading. Okay.
Yeah. However, RAF stressed that it's a routine interception as Russian military aircraft are often seen flying over the Baltic Sea. And you would expect that to occur, right? We don't get a lot of Russian aircraft flying over Calgary. It would be shocking if that occurred.
God, I hope they never make it that far into our airspace. I mean, I can see them approaching our
Northern Territory, right?
But
Northern Territory is the North Pole. So.
But if they ever made it quite this far, I think that would be problematic.
And so it just goes on the same way. Basically, Russia last week reported up to 2 interception operations of German and Norwegian aircraft in the vicinity of Russian airspace and escorting them in the opposite direction. So we're doing it to them, they're doing it to us, right? But so this is not too far out of line of what you would expect. But with the thing going on in Ukraine, tensions are high, more or less. Councilman, do you have anything else there?
Not really, no.
I want to come back to this. Slovakia joins Hungary and Poland in Ukrainian grain veto.
Yeah.
Again, this is a
Well,
news
we're
360.
yeah. Maybe we should detour back to these ones because we're
Uh,
getting ready to wind down here.
yeah, this I think will be fairly quick. So Ukraine is kind of like the bread basket of Europe, right? I've heard that when I
Hmm.
was in the eighth grade 10, 15 years ago. Nothing. Jesus, who cares, guy? It was closer to 30 years ago, but we won't say anything about that. Anyway,
Hmm.
it's like the bread basket in the U.S., right? If you were to shut out the grain, the other states that do produce grain, they're going to see a rise in price um, because people have to eat, right? And because of
Right.
this war in Ukraine, Ukraine cannot ship their grain out because their ports were captured by Russia. Um,
Has there been something changed there? Because there was an agreement to ship out the grain reached
in
quite a
pass or
while
whatever it was.
ago. Yeah. So, I mean, because there's a corridor
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Controlled by Turkey.
that is, so is that corridor been shut down or something that I haven't
I'm
caught
not
about?
entirely aware of all those details. Whether, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I thought it was still open, but these countries are still saying maybe we shouldn't do that. Not just yet, right?
Shouldn't do which?
Except grain until the conflict in
Well,
Ukraine and Russia gets dealt with.
yeah, but that's not the problem here. The problem here is that Ukraine's grain now is so cheap that is actually driving down the prices on grain, and that farmers in Hungary and Poland are going bankrupt. You know, they're losing
Yeah,
money because they can't sell their grain at
cost
uh, uh,
at
yeah, at
cost
cost
even.
maybe. You know, yeah, right. So um, all that's happening here is that the Hungarian and the Polish governments are trying to protect their farmers just the way that we would try and
Canada's
protect
same
our
thing.
farmers. You know, same idea, right? And so they are um, banning the import of Ukrainian grain. Now, I'm guessing because I'm not really aware of that kind of economics and what it was like previous to the war, but I'm guessing a lot of that grain used to go to Russia. Well, of course, that's not going to happen now. So I'm guessing Ukraine has a massive surplus of grain that they're still shipping to other countries like they used to do before.
Okay,
But
so
they have this massive excess because it's not being shipped to Russia. And
well,
so that drives down the price on the grain. And now Hungary and Poland, farmers in Hungary and Poland who also produce grain, because yes, Ukraine might be the quote unquote bread basket, but it's not the only producer. It's just
no,
going to be the most significant
they
one, right?
produce something like 85% of the
Yeah,
wheat in
yeah,
Europe.
it could be. I'm not sure what it
Yeah.
might be, but that's
So
still there are farmers in Hungary and Poland that are trying to support families and live lives, and now their grain is worth half the money that it was
yeah,
before. You know, and their government has to do something about it.
the
So,
Slovak
uh,
ministry claiming that cereals are theoretically destined for third countries end up in the European market and destabilize it, which is exactly what you're saying,
mm,
right? So this grain that is typically coming from Ukraine, some will go to Europe, but Ukraine is now feeding Africa, right? And
well, they've been looking for other markets undoubtedly to ship off that grain, but
well, that would have been where they were shipping it before the war, so they would keep doing that. And now, when they shut it down, now Africa, the continent of Africa, and all the countries that are in that are facing additional food pressures because of the war. Um,
mhm.
but because some of the money is, you're more likely to get some money out of Europe. The grains that are being fed into Africa are being fed into Europe, which is the destabilization that you're talking about. I'm with you. I can get behind that.
Yep, yep.
Right? I mean, it works for me. Governments of Hungary and Poland announced Saturday they will ban imports of agricultural products from Ukraine until June 30th in order to defend the interests of their domestic producers. Again, we have the same sort of pissing contest with the U.S. in terms of softwood lumber and some other building stuffs. And here's what Who Cares just said. Bulgaria, working on a similar ban, citing alleged losses to local farmers amounting to 460 million euros. So that's the euro is almost on par with the U.S. dollar. So let's say $500 million, half a billion. So I don't know. I'm okay. I mean, I get it. I understand. People need to eat.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I understand. It's just when you read these things, your immediate thought is, oh, they're turning away from Ukraine. They're not giving support to Ukraine during the war. But once you read a little bit deeper, you're like, oh, I understand what's happening. Okay, well,
this is why we do what we do, right? We read the headlines and take a guess what we think is happening, and then we read the story and go, oh, we were completely wrong. Or that's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I think that's it. We in the middle of our space there. Oh, this one, right there. We've got to add space. We have 2 confirmed advertisers, and we're working on this third one. It is only 1 o'clock here, so I don't have any PBRs in front of me just yet. Give it a couple hours. I will have my PBRs going, but this one right here is the Weenie Wagon. I think you see Noob Frostmage in the umbrella there, right? They're our most recent subscriber. It's a hot dog stand here in Calgary. They go around and do different places, like fairs, work sites, and things like that, and sell hot dogs and sausages. If you happen to be in Calgary and you want to know where they're going, leave a message there, and we'll set you up. And I'll tell you what, if you come up to that guy there, that the world's greatest hot dog vendor, and say, "Hey, I saw your podcast. I'd like a hot dog," he'll give you one for free. He'll even probably buy you a pop because that's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who cares? What do you know about Yuck Yucks here?
Well, before or after that,
cool sponsors, iFrog. Cool sponsors.
You can always go to Yuck Yucks as well. We'll extend the same thing to the Calgary Club only. Can't do anything for you at any of the other marvelous Canadian clubs, Yuck Yucks clubs across Canada.
Right.
But certainly the Calgary Club. That if you leave a comment here, I believe Noob will also be uploading his stream to YouTube. You could leave a comment there as well.
Yeah.
If you want to come to a show, I'll hook you up with 4 tickets. It is show tickets only.
Gotta buy your own beer. Gotta buy your own food.
Yeah, you're responsible for yourself, but
that's fair.
We'll definitely hook you up with 4 tickets. So if you live in Calgary and want to check out a show, leave us a comment here. If you're coming to Calgary from wherever and want to check out a show, leave us a comment. I'll hook you up with
Wouldn't that be great? You come get a hot dog like at 6 o'clock. Well, probably not 6, probably at lunchtime, right? Get a hot dog, sausage, come for a visit, chat up, whatever it is with the hot dog guy, and say, hey, do you know this Who Cares guy? Can you call him and get me like 4 tickets for tonight's show? Right?
Mm-hmm.
We could probably arrange something like that for you because we know the people. We know the owners here.
Yep, we can make that happen. So.
And Who Cares kind of put these commercials together here. Just took them off of the website, I think, right? The PBR website, and uploaded them. So I did reach out to these guys last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. Haven't heard back from them yet, so we're still waiting to hear back. But I would love to get a sponsorship from PBR.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're kind of taking the initiative here. Yeah. We did scoop their ad promoting them.
We didn't make these ads.
Yeah, we didn't make them, and we're not promoting somebody else. We're not using their ad to promote something else. We're using the ad to promote PBR, simply because Noob is trying to get PBR as a sponsor. So.
I drink their beer regardless, right?
Yep.
If they reach out to us, and I hope they don't do this, but if they reach out to us and say, no, you got to take our sites down, we don't give you permission to use it, That doesn't mean I'm going to stop drinking their beer. I'll still drink
Right.
it. I just won't push it as hard as I
Yeah,
normally do,
so
right? So
we just took a little bit of the initiative
yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
and I found a couple of ads on the internet. Go figure. And yeah, who would have thought that?
Who would
you
have
know,
thought
so,
that you could look this stuff up on the internet?
yeah, and so I do a bit of video editing, and I sliced and diced, and I put a bunch of stuff together, and going to be working on different ideas to change up that ad space. But for the time being, that's what we're working with. So.
Okay, so we are done with our podcast for today. This isn't really a podcast, but we're calling it that because we don't know what to call it just yet. A talk show. A talk show might be the right one. Going forward, though, who cares? We've got to make sure that I funnel into the correct, not just chatting, but the talk shows podcast thing. Thank you, iFrog, for helping us out today and for tuning in. We do this twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. This was fun. I like you guys. You're a great duo. Well, that's good. We thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
I try to. So I've got 30 minutes from now until the end of the hour. I try to upload the video in that 30 minutes, and then I stream poker from 1:30 in the afternoon until about 4. So I don't usually get any WoW in until later on tonight. I take a break from 4 o'clock until 7, and then I have raid. So that's what's happening with my agenda here. Right? Cheers. Oh, is that our first bits? I think that is our first bits. I just saw the thing.
Yeah.
I just saw the thing flashing. I didn't know that's what that was. Thank you, iFrog. Thank you very much.
Nice. Yeah.
I will make sure I share a percentage with Who Cares next time I see him. That's awesome. Who cares? Want to add in anything else?
No, I think we've covered everything today.
All right. You guys have a great afternoon. Have a great night. We will see you here at our next talk show and podcast on Tuesday.
We will not see you on Tuesday.
Thursday.
Because one of us is in Las Vegas.
I'm not going to Las Vegas on Thursday.
Must be me then. Thursday. Oh, Thursday. I'm a week ahead of myself. Yeah, Thursday.
Oh.
I'm going next week.
Yeah. See?
I'm ahead of myself. Yep.
We're going to talk about this in just a couple minutes. Thanks, guys.
We'll
Say
be
goodnight,
here
Gracie.
Thursday, but not next week. Good night, Gracie.
Say that again? What?
We'll be here Thursday, but not next week.
Yeah, we'll be here Thursday and Tuesday. When are you heading out next week?
Sunday.
Next Sunday. So I'm by myself all next week.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll be here and I'll hosting by myself. Maybe I can iFrog. Let's talk a little bit here off stream. I will reach out to you. You know what we're gonna do? That's the right one. Come find me in Twitch. If that doesn't work, maybe we'll do the same thing. we'll have our first quote unquote guest host. Obviously, I'm looking for someone next week because I didn't know about this before. All right, now we really are gone. Say goodnight, Gracie.
All right. Good night, Gracie.